Hello everybody, thank you for coming to another story time. I missed doing this the last 2 weeks since I was out of town, but I'm back at home. I am inside though because it's a little bit rainy and cold outside today. So today is Wednesday, our story time day, and now that we're into September, that means a lot of you are probably either at school or maybe you're doing school from home this year. But no matter where you are, a pretty typical part of our school day is eating lunch, right? Maybe it's your favorite subject even. But lunch is a really important part of our day, and our story today is going to be about what we might find in our lunch. What are some of your favorite things to eat for lunch? Maybe some of you eat a sandwich at lunch, a peanut butter and jelly, or a turkey, or a ham. Maybe some of you eat an apple with your lunch, or a clementine. I love clementines. Maybe some of you are really lucky and you get a dessert with your lunch, like a chocolate chip cookie. And all those things, all those foods that we eat at lunch or even at dinner and breakfast have to come from somewhere. So where does our food come from? Some of you maybe are saying farmers grow our food, so some of our food might come from farms. Some might come directly from farms. This is a really great time of year to go to the farmer's market or visit a farm stand on the side of the road where you can buy fresh vegetables, maybe some fruit still right from your farmer on the side of the road. Most of you probably get your food at the grocery store. But some of our food, things like maybe a juice box, it has to go somewhere between the farmer and when we get it to turn into the product, right? Our apple juice might be made of apples, and I have an apple orchard right up the road from me, but if I go there, I can't just buy an apple juice box. It's got to go somewhere else, and we call that getting processed or turned into a product that we are going to eat, because sometimes it might take more than one thing that we grow to make a product that we like to eat. So our story today is called How Did That Get in My Lunchbox? The Story of Food. It was written by Chris Butterworth. Kind of funny that he has a food in his name. And it was illustrated by Lucia Gagliotti. So let's find out where our food comes from. Look at all these foods on there. Does anybody see a food that they like to eat? I see pineapples and pizza. Ooh, donuts. Strawberries and carrots and bread, pears. Oh my goodness. Looks delicious. Looks gonna make me hungry. All right, here we go. One of the best parts of the day is when you lift the lid on your lunchbox to see what's inside. Your parents have packed it with lots of tasty things to eat. They probably got all the food from the grocery store. But food doesn't grow in stores. So where did it come from before it was in the store? Just how did all this food get in your lunchbox? How many of you have a lunch that looks something like this? How did the bread in your sandwich get in your lunchbox? A farmer planted seeds in spring, and by summer they'd grown into tall waving wheat with fat ripe grains at the tip of every stalk. The farmer cut the wheat with a giant combine harvester and sent it to a flour mill. Bet some of you have seen these giant combine harvesters before. Sometimes they might be on the road driving in front of us and you have to go super slow around them. The miller ground the grains into flour. So it goes in this grinder, it grinds it all up and it comes out as a powder here, flour. And trucks took the flour to a bakery. The baker mixed the flour with water and sugar and yeast, kneaded it into a soft, squishy dough, and baked it in a very hot oven. Out comes fresh loaves of bread, ready to send to the store. Take a bite out of the bread in your sandwich. Crusty on the outside and soft in the middle. Does anybody make their own bread at home? How did the cheese in your sandwich get in your lunchbox? Your cheese was once milk that came from a cow. A farmer milked the cows, and a tanker from the dairy came to collect the milk. Step 1. In the dairy, cheesemakers warmed up the milk. Step 2. And added bacteria to make it turn sour and thick. Ooh. Step 3. Then they added a substance that animals use to digest milk called rennet. Step 4. And it changed again into bits called curds floating in the whey. Step 5. They drained off the whey, chopped up the rubbery curds, added some salt, and pressed them into blocks. Step 6. They stored the blocks for months until the cheese was ripe. Bite into your cheese. It's creamy and smooth, but tasty too, and tingly on your tongue. It's quite the process to make the cheese that goes on your sandwich, huh? How did your tomatoes get in your lunchbox? Last summer, your tomatoes were growing in a big plastic tunnel full of tomato plants. The sun and the warmth made the plants grow tall and bloom with yellow flowers. As each flower died, a tiny green tomato fruit began to grow from its middle. Day by day, the plants sucked up water, and the tomatoes swelled from green to orange into red. When bunches of ripe scarlet tomatoes dangled from the branches, the growers picked them. So they've been growing in this tunnel. Now they're ready to pick. Now let's see what happens. Step 1, the growers sorted them. Step 2, they packed them. Step 3, and sent them to the store. Pop one in your mouth and squish sweet sour juice out. How many of you like tomatoes? Anybody grow their own tomatoes? How did your apple juice get in your lunchbox? Last spring, the apple trees in the orchard were full of flowers. Oh, and they smell so good. In summer, tiny apple buds grew from each flower stalk. The buds kept growing, and by autumn, the trees were full of ripe, sweet fruit. Now is a really great time to visit an apple orchard, and we have a ton in the Driftless region, and lots of them might let you pick your own apples, or you can get just nice, really fresh apples that you could eat as apples, or bake a pie with, or maybe an apple crust, turn it into cider. Oh, I love fall, and I love apples. All right, so what happens once our trees are full of apples? It says pickers climbed into the trees and filled their bins with fruit. A truck took bins to the juice factory, where sorters threw out any rotten apples. Don't want rotten apples in your juice. Step 1. Then a machine washed the rest. Step 2. And mashed them into a milling machine, seeds, skin, and all. Step 3. A huge press squeezed the mash till all its juice ran out. So we can see them getting all grinded up. And then the press smashes the juice out. 4, a heater warmed up the juice to kill off any germs. And 5, poured it into cartons. Suck hard on your straw to taste the apple tang. How did your carrots get in your lunchbox? Last spring, your carrots were growing in a field on a vegetable farm. You wouldn't have seen any carrots then. Just long rows of feathery leaves. Why wouldn't you have seen the carrots? Anybody know? Because where do carrots grow? Underground. As the leaves grew taller in the summer sun, each carrot root pushed deeper into the earth, soaking up water and turning orange. By late summer, they had swelled so much that the top of each carrot poked out of the earth. Pickers pulled them up. Then the carrots were washed. Ooh, they have this big machine for washing carrots. And packed into trucks. Bite into your carrot, see just how sweet and crunchy it tastes. What animal's helping them in this carrot factory? I don't know if I would trust rabbits in my carrot factory. How did the chocolate chip in your cookie get into your lunchbox? Cookies are made from flour, sugar, and butter, and this one's got chocolate chips in it. Chocolate starts off as a bean, well, lots of beans, which grow in pods on a cocoa tree. The pods are picked from the tree, then they're cut open and the beans are scooped out. These beans are spread out and left to dry in the sun. The dried beans are taken to a factory, sometimes on the other side of the world. In the factory, they are, step 1, roasted, so cooked. Step 2, and ground into a thick, sticky paste. Step 3, sugar's mixed in, so the paste gets sweeter, but it's still gritty, so it's squeezed, stirred, melted, and cooled. So we roasted them, made it into a sticky paste, and then they're adding ingredients and trying to make it smoother. And it's cooled to make it really smooth. It takes a lot of work to make chocolate. Finally, the chocolate is molded into blocks. These are made into little chips that will melt in your mouth all over again. How did your clementine get into your lunchbox? Early in the summer, the trees in the clementine grove were full of sweet-smelling, waxy flowers. As the flowers died, a tiny green clementine berry began to grow out of each one. The clementines swelled in the warm sun, turning from green to yellow. By the time cooler winter weather arrived, the clementines had turned orange and were so heavy and full of juice that they made the branches droop. Pickers climbed ladders to reach them. They had to wear gloves so they didn't bruise the tender fruit inside the skin. They washed them and packed them, and the grower sent the boxes in trucks to the market. It's easy to peel a clementine. Then all you have to do is pop the juicy pieces into your mouth and bite. Most clementines are seedless. You've eaten it all, from the first bite of bread to the last piece of fruit. It came from fields and farms, from orchards, from groves, and from dairies. So many people helped bring it to you. Farmers and bakers, cheese and chocolate makers, pickers and packers, and truck drivers. And now it's all in your stomach, starting to do the job that food does, helping you grow taller and stronger, and giving you your get up and go. It's an important part of the day. Don't skip lunch or breakfast or dinner. You need more than lunch to make you grow and keep you healthy. Every day you need to choose food from each of the sections on this plate. Most of your food should come from the fruits and vegetables and carbohydrates section. So let's look at this. These are our carbohydrates. It says these foods fill you up fast and give you the energy to keep going. Then our fruits and veggies are down here. Fruits and vegetables. Your body needs lots of these to keep you healthy. Up here we have our protein section. It says on this side, it says these foods are just as important as carbohydrates, fruits, and vegetables, but your body doesn't need as much of them. Protein. These are our bodybuilders to help you grow those extra inches. Dairy, like we saw with our cheese, these are the bone builders. They also help your teeth grow strong because they have lots of calcium. Then there's the stuff you eat for a treat. Just a little bit of these is enough. So in there, what do we see? We see chocolates, pizza. Oh, those are potato chips, a cookie. I don't actually know what those are. Maybe you do. But those treats that we don't get very often, but they taste so good, but maybe they're not so healthy for us, so we can't eat them all the time. And a few food facts at the end. Your body is made mostly of water, so you need at least 6 drinks a day to keep yourself topped up. Most of these drinks should be water. not soda, which has lots of sugar in it. Not good for us. Your body is growing all the time, even when you're asleep. So remember, don't skip breakfast. It gets your body through the day. Too much sitting around won't keep your body healthy. It doesn't matter whether you choose a ball, your dog, or your friends, but spend about an hour a day on the move, or more than that. It's good to eat 5 different kinds of fruits and vegetables every day. Why not try a new one this week? So again, there's lots of farmers markets and farm stands, stuff grown from our local farms and local producers that you could give a try if you haven't tried some of them before. Okay, so that was our story for today. So when you have your lunch today or tomorrow or sometime this week, think about what you're eating for lunch and talk with your family or your friends or whoever you might be eating lunch with about where the stuff in your lunchbox came from and what it maybe had to do to get there. I'll put some resources down below related to food and where food comes from, and I hope it gives you something to think about this week. But remember, eating healthy is just one part of keeping our bodies healthy, but you have to get up and move your bodies and get outside because that's good for us too. So get outside this week, and I hope to see you next week here at 1 o'clock for Storytime. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you then. Bye.